Hello aspiring average Jonases, I'm Defied and today I've put together 10 of my best arrows for Haven that I want to share with you. These are all arrows that I use in my immortal lobbies, so you can be pretty sure that they're damn good arrows. Why only 10 you might ask? Well, there are so many bloody lineups that you'll never use in a real game, and I don't want to waste your time with those ones. Also, remembering is hard, so if you only have these 10 arrows and some other really basic ones, then that should be enough for most games. Before we get into it though, please subscribe. It's free to do and you can always take it back anytime you like, but it really does help me out and I'd appreciate it. Thanks guys, now let's get into it. So first up, we are going to do the defense sided arrows. Now I like to fire a lot of my arrows at the start of the round to get some quick info on where the enemy is going. So this first arrow is basically to check for an A site rush and can also help you to secure the alt orb. It's pretty easy to do, so only a 2 out of 10 for difficulty here. At the start of the round, walk into the barrier and line yourself up in the middle of the path. Then look up and you'll see these 2 pegs on the wall. Now you basically just want to aim slightly above and to the right of this peg here. It doesn't have to be perfect, but somewhere around here is good. Then do a full charge with 1 bounce. It's going to fly pretty fast up into this top corner of a lobby and catch anyone attempting to push the area. If no one shoots your arrow down, you can easily take the orb. Alright, this is a new arrow I found because a lot of mid arrow lineups reveal a good amount of nothing and I really wanted to give as much info as possible. It will help you get info on a possible B or garage push through mid, but it can be dangerous if they are already pushed up outside B as you're exposed from this angle. It's also one of the hardest arrows to do, so the difficulty for this one is a 9 out of 10. Anyway, here you want to line yourself up with the middle of this cable clip on the ground against the wall. Then using the left charge bar line, you want to line it up on the right side of the flagpole and just underneath the top blue line. I like to line it up with the blue line, then move it down about 2 pixels. When ready, you're going to do a 1 bar and jump. This one is going to fly over garage, just clear the roof and tree branches before landing right on the edge of this box. It reveals pretty much everything in mid, including the far cutouts over there, and even anyone playing this tight angle and window, but it won't get anyone right next to this box or on the hay bales in that corner. Now this one can be used at the start of the round, but it shines a little bit later when the enemy least expects it. Make sure you practice this one as well to get the lineup right, as it is a tough one. Now this arrow for C long at the start of a round is pretty good, but it is fairly obvious after you've shot it a few times though, so try to switch it up with some other arrows around the map. Difficulty for this one is 2 out of 10 as it's pretty basic. Here you want to get into this corner with the broom against the box and then look up towards C long. You'll see this building with a spike on top of it which you're going to use. So aim at the spike and then move your crosshair upwards until you hit this cutout on the edge of the roof here. When ready, do a single bar charge and release. This one is going to fly over long and land on the slanted part of the roof here, revealing anyone trying to peek long and anyone who might try to slowly push up. Now I prefer to use it at the start of a round, but it can work a little bit later in the round to see if the enemy is trying to sneak up long, or even in a post-plant situation if the site seems clear. Alright, now these next 3 arrows will be for retaking sites, and we're going to start with the new God arrow for A site. This is a little bit better than the original God arrow as you are closer to the site and can make more use of this one yourself. Also, it's quite a bit easier as it doesn't need to be so precise, so difficulty for this one is a 4 out of 10. Here, you want to jump onto the first box and push yourself into the corner. Find this jagged edge on the roof and move to the right until you're in line with this other slightly less jagged edge. Then, move your crosshair up until the top left corner of your charge bar is in line with the top of this wood line. Then simply do a 1 bar and release. This one's going to reveal pretty much everything on site except for in hell and behind the box on short if they're hugging it tightly. Still though, it's probably one of the best retake arrows as you'll get so much information from it at the perfect time as you're pushing site. Alright, so retake on B can be difficult as there are many angles to clear. But for this one, we're going to be retaking from C-Link, and we're also assuming that the entry is smoked as that's pretty much usually what happens. Now, difficulty for this is around a 4 over 10 as there is a little bit of a lineup and it's fairly precise. So you want to push yourself into this corner against the wall here. Now just be careful, we aren't exactly hard up against the garage, but this other corner where this wood panel is. Now look at the ground where you see these 2 darker looking bricks. Aim at the intersection here, and do a full charge double bounce arrow. This one's going to bounce off the ground, off the back wall, and then land above the C-Link entrance on the bottom of this panel. It's super good as it's going to reveal pretty much everything on site close to you, including anyone holding an angle from gong, anyone on top of the crates on site, or even in the far corner. You can then use this info to get some easy kills through the smoke before entering and retaking the site. Alright, for our C retake dart, I found a really great arrow that reveals almost everything on site and is also shot from the same location as some double shock darts. Now the difficulty on this one is around a 6 out of 10 as the lineup is a little difficult to see and can miss if slightly off, especially if you haven't practiced. So here you're going to push yourself into this corner and then look just to the left of this wooden strip near the top and find this dark spot on the wall. You're going to put the white dash part of your HUD line against the bottom left of this dark spot here. Then do a 1-bar charge and shoot. It's going to fly over site and land right on the edge of this roof here, revealing everything on site: backsite, default, outside garage, logs, and even some of C-long and cubby. The only places it won't get is anyone hard against the box outside garage, and the other side of default near logs, so make sure to check these places when retaking. Awesome, now let's move on to our attacker-sided lineups. Now these are mostly the God arrows for each site as they are simply the best ones, and I'm going to teach you the easiest way to do these consistently. So for the A site God arrow, I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10 for difficulty as it's near one of the hardest arrows to do. Here, stand in this corner by the pot and then look up towards this tree where you see this kinda angled part of the tree sticking out. You are going to be using the same white dash on your HUD as in the last arrow as part of the lineup. Now I think I got this lineup from an Average Jonas video in the first time I saw it, and he said to align this line with the top right corner, but I found if I did this, it would sometimes miss and not be perfect. So to be more consistent, I put the corner of the HUD diagonal to the top right corner of the tree. Basically, it's 1 pixel up and 1 pixel left, like I'm showing you here. When ready, you want to do a 2-bar charge with no bounces. If done correctly, it's going to land on the top edge of the roof here, revealing all of the common defensive locations except for hell and some of heaven. They will also not get scanned if they hug the triple boxes tightly. With this arrow, you can even catch people rotating through B Site. You can't use this one so much yourself, but it's good to use when your teammates have control of long and A short and are ready to bust out and take site control. Alright, the B Site God arrow is also quite difficult, but I think it's easier than the A Site arrow, so I'm going to give this an 8 out of 10 for difficulty. The starting position is the exact same as the A Site God arrow on the ledge here with the pot. Look over towards these mountains here, and what you want to do is look just above the corner of these 2 rocks, and then slowly drag your crosshair upwards until this jagged edge on the roof to the left of your screen disappears. When ready, do a 2-bar charge with 2 bounces and release. It's going to fly up through this window, bounce in the corner of this other window, and then land on this gong above the entrance to B Site. That's seriously an amazing arrow, revealing all of your typical corners, top of the crates, and even people peeking from A-Link and C-Link. This is a good one to use at the start of the round when you're going to peek window, but also can be useful slightly later in the round when your teammates are close to the entrance of B and ready to push into site. The last God arrow here is for C Site and is quite a bit easier than the last 2, so it gets a 6 out of 10 for difficulty. It's still not the easiest as the lineup is fairly precise, and also you need to remember to crouch. Now I've seen this arrow in quite a few other guides, but they don't tell you exactly how to get the perfect landing position, so that's what I'm going to do. Here you want to get into C long and then line up the edge of these 2 walls. Crouch, and then look at the end of this roof beam. Most of this beam will get a good arrow, but for the perfect arrow, aim towards the right side of the beam and halfway between the top of the roof line and the top of the beam as shown here. When ready, do a full charge with 1 bounce. This arrow will fly quite quickly to site and land on the corner edge of this roof, revealing everything on logs, behind default boxes, platform and near garage as well. This is the best arrow for C, but it does get quite obvious, so try to fire this one as your team starts to gain control of garage, and also when they're around cubby just as they get ready to push onto site. And finally, our last arrow and also my favourite arrow is the faithful Garage Wallbang Recon. This is a fairly precise arrow, but the lineup is easy, so it gets a 5 out of 10 for difficulty. At the start of the round, line yourself up against the barrier in this corner. You'll see these wooden squares at the top of the garage, and you basically want to put your crosshair on the underside of this beam in line with the middle of this darker square like shown. Tell your team to spray the doors down when the barrier drops, and as soon as you can, do a full charge in 1 bounce. This will fly through the top cloth above the garage doors, bounce off the back wall and land on the side, revealing everything inside of garage, including anyone playing a close angle behind the doors and behind the box. The only thing it won't reveal is anyone who hides in window, but it will allow you to get an easy wallbang kill at the start of the round if they're hiding close, which may lead to garage control. And that's it for this video. I really hope you guys have learnt a lot and gained some valuable arrows to use. If you did find it useful, please leave me a like and subscribe with notifications on, so you can get more like this when I release them for the other maps. Thanks to anyone who does that, as it does really help me out and helps me grow the channel. Of course, if you have any questions or want me to do a guide on something else, let me know in the comments section below. Well, that's it for now guys. Hope you have a great day. Once again, I'm Defied and happy gaming.